Fablehaven Chapter 4, The Hidden Pond. Rain pattered endlessly against the roof. Kendra had never heard such a noisy downpour. Then again, she had never really been in an attic in a rainstorm. Then again, she had never been in an attic. No, I read that already. Sorry. There was something relaxing about the steady drumming, so content that it almost became inaudible without ever decreasing in volume. Standing at the window beside the telescope, she watched the deluge. The rain fell straight and hard. There was no wind, just a layer upon layer of streaking droplets, blurring into a gray haze in the distance. The gutter below her was about to overflow. Seth sat on the stool in the corner, painting. Lena had been creating paint-by-number canvases for him, sketching them with expert speed, customizing each image to his specifications. The current project was a dragon battling a knight on horseback amid a fuming wasteland. Lena had outlined the image in considerable detail, including the subtleties of light and shade, so that the finished product looked quite accomplished. She had taught Seth how to mix paint and to give him samples of which hue corresponded with each number. For the current painting, she had incorporated more than 90 different shades. Kendra had rarely seen Seth demonstrate as much diligence as he did on the painting. After a few brief lessons on how to apply the paint, including the purpose of different brushes and tools, he had already finished a large canvas of pirates sacking a town of a smaller one of a snake charmer diving away from a striking cobra. 2 impressive paintings in 3 days. He was an addict, and he was almost done with his latest project. Crossing to the bookshelf, Kendra ran a hand along the spines of the volumes. She had searched the room thoroughly and had yet to find the last keyhole, let alone the secret passage to the other side of the attic. Seth could be a pest, but now that he had become immersed in his painting, she had started to miss him. Maybe Lena would outline a painting for her. Kendra had turned down her initial offer, since it sounded childish, like coloring. But the finished product looked much less juvenile than Kendra had anticipated. Kendra opened the door and descended the stairs. The house was dim and quiet. The rain fell more distantly as she left the attic behind. She walked along the hall and down the stairs to the main floor. The house seemed too quiet. All the lights were out despite the gloom. Lena? There was no answer. Kendra went through the living room, the dining room, and into the kitchen. No sign of the housekeeper. Had she left? Opening the door to the basement, Kendra peered down the steps into the darkness. The stairs were made of stone, as if leading to a dungeon. "Lena?" she called uncertainly. Surely the woman wasn't down there without any light. Kendra went back down the hall and slid open the door to the study. Having not yet entered this particular room, she first noticed the huge desk cluttering with books and papers. The massive head of a hairy boar was with jutting tusks hung mounted on the wall. A collection of grotesque wood masks rested on a shelf. Golfing trophies lined another. Plaques decorated the wood panel walls, along with the frame displayed of military medals and ribbons. There was a black and white picture of a much younger Grandpa Sorensen showing off an enormous marlin. That's a really big fish. On the desk, inside a crystal sphere with a flat bottom, was an eerie replica of a human skull no bigger than her thumb. Kendra slid the study door closed. She tried the garage, the parlor, the family room. Maybe Lena had run to the store. Kendra walked out to the back porch, shielded from the rain by the overhang. She loved the fresh, damp scent of rainfall. It continued to come down hard, puddling around the garden. Where did the butterflies hide from such a downpour? Then she saw Lena. The housekeeper knelt in the mud beside a bush blossoming with large blue and white roses, absolutely soaked, apparently waiting. Her white hair was plastered to her head, and her housecoat was drenched. Lena! The housekeeper looked up, smiled, and waved. Kendra retrieved an umbrella from the hall closet and joined Lena in the garden. You're sopping, Kendra said. Lena rooted out a weed. It's a warm rain. I like being out in the weather. She stuffed the weed into a bulging garbage bag. You're going to catch a cold. I don't often take ill. She paused and stared up at the clouds. It won't last much longer. Kendra tilted the umbrella back and gazed heavenward. Laden skies in all directions. You think? Wait and see. The rain will pass within the hour. Your knees are all muddy. You think I've lost my marbles? The diminutive woman stood up and spread her arms wide, tilting her head back. Do you ever look up at the rain, Kendra? It feels like the sky is falling. Kendra tilted the umbrella back again. Millions of raindrops rushed towards her, some pelting her face and making her blink. Or like you're soaring up to the clouds, she said. I suppose I should get you inside before my unusual habits rub off. No, I didn't mean to disturb you. Back under the protection of the umbrella, Kendra wiped droplets from her forehead. I guess you don't want the umbrella. That would defeat the purpose. I'll be in shortly. Kendra returned to the house. She stole glances at Lena through a window. It was just so peculiar she couldn't resist spying. Sometimes Lena was working. Sometimes she was smiling at a blossom or stroking its petal. And the rain kept falling. Kendra was sitting on her bed reading poems by Shel Silverstein when the room suddenly brightened. The sun was out. Lena had been right about the rain. It had relented about 40 minutes after her protection. The housekeeper had come inside, changing out of her wet clothes, and made sandwiches. Across the room, the painting of the knight charging the dragon was complete. Seth had gone outside an hour ago. Kendra was in a lazy mood. Just as Kendra returned her attention to the latest poem, Seth burst into the room, breathing hard. He wore only socks on his feet. His clothes were streaked with mud. You have to come see what I found in the woods. Another witch? No, way cooler. A hobo camp? I'm not going to say. You have to come see. Does it involve hermits or lunatics? No people, he said. How far from the yard? Not far. We could get into trouble. Besides, it's muddy out. Grandpa is hiding a beautiful park in the woods, Seth blurted. What? You have to come see it. Put on galoshes or something. Kendra closed the book. The sunlight came and went, depending on the shifting clouds. The soft breeze ruffled the foliage. The woods smelled mulchy. Scrambling over a damp, rotten log, Kendra shrieked when she saw a glistening white frog. Seth turned around. Awesome! Try disgusting. I've never seen a white frog, Seth said. He tried to grab it, but the frog took an enormous leap as he approached. Whoa! That thing flew. He checked the underbrush where the frog had landed, but found nothing. Hurry up, Kendra said, glancing back the way they had come. The house was no longer in sight. She could not shake the sick, nervous feeling in her stomach. Unlike her little brother, Kendra was not a natural rule breaker. She was in all accelerated classes at school, got almost perfect grades, kept her room tidy, and always practiced her piano lessons. Seth, on the other hand, settled for lousy grades, routinely skipping his homework, and earned frequent dissensions. Of course, he was also the one with all the friends, so maybe there was a method to his madness. What's the rush? He took the lead again, blazing the trail through the undergrowth. The longer we're gone, the more likely someone will notice we're missing. It isn't much farther. See that hedge? It was not exactly a hedge, more like a tall barrier of unkept bushes. You call that a hedge? The park is on the far side. The wall of the bushes extended as far as Kendra could see in either direction. How do we go around it? Through it? You'll see. They reached the bush, and Seth turned left, studying the leafy barricade as he went, occasionally squatting and checking closer. The interlocked bushes ranged from 10 to 12 feet, and they looked really thick. Okay, I think this is where I squirmed through, though there was a deep indentation at the base of where the two bushes overlapped. Seth dropped on all fours and forced his way in. You're going to have a billion ticks, Kendra predicted. They're all hiding from the rain, he replied with perfect confidence. Kendra got down and followed him. I don't think this is the same way I got through last time, Seth admitted. It's a little more cramped, but it should work. He was now slithering on his belly. This better be good. Kendra squirmed on her belly. Squirmed on her elbows, eyes squinted. The damp ground felt cold, and the droplets fell from the bush as she jostled it. Seth reached the far side and stood up. She called through as well. Her eyes widened as she got to her feet. Before her lay a pristine pond, a couple 100 yards across, with a small verdant island at the center. A series of elaborate gazebos surrounded the pond, interconnected by a whitewashed boardwalk. Flowering vines wound along the latticework of an impressive promenade. Elegant swans glided on the water. Butterflies and hummingbirds wove and darted along among the blossoms. On the far side of the pond, peacocks strutted and preened. What in the world? Kendra gasped. Come on, Seth started across the lush, dearly mowed lawn towards the nearest gazebo. Kendra looked back, understanding why Seth had called the disheveled barrier of bushes a hedge. On this side, the bushes were neatly trimmed. The hedgerow encompassed the entire area, with a single arch entry off to one side. Why didn't we come through the entryway? Kendra asked, trotting after her brother. Shortcut. Seth paused at the white steps leading up to the gazebo to pluck a piece of fruit from the espalier. Try one. You should wash it, Kendra said. It just rained. He took a bite. It's so good. Kendra tried one. It was the sweetest nectarine she'd ever tasted. Delicious. Together they mounted the steps of the extravagant pavilion. The the wood rail was perfectly smooth, although unshielded from the elements. All of the woodwork appeared to be in flawless condition. No peeling paint, no cracks, no splinters. The gazebo was furnished with white wicker love seats and chairs. In some places, an abuquesis, I'm going to have to look that word up. Abuquesis vines had been woven into living wreaths and other fanciful patterns. A bright parrot sat on the high perch, staring down at them. Look at the parrot, Kendra exclaimed. Last time I saw some monkeys, Seth said. Little guys with long arms. They were swinging all over the place. And there was a goat. It ran away as soon as it saw me. Oh, there's a picture. Seth took off, clumping down one of the boardwalks. Kendra followed more slowly, absorbing the scene. It looked like the setting of a fairy tale wedding. She counted 12 pavilions, each unique. One had small white quarry projecting into a pond. The little pier was connected to a floating shed that had to be a boathouse. Kendra strolled after Seth, whose ruckus was sending the swans drifting towards the far side of the lake, leaving a V-shaped ripple in their wake. The sun broke through the clouds and gleamed upon the waters. Why would Grandpa Sorensen keep a place like this a secret? It was magnificent. Why go through all the trouble of maintaining it if not to enjoy it? Hundreds of people could gather here with room to spare. Kendra went to the gazebo with the pier and found that the boathouse was locked. It was not large. She guessed it held a few canoes or rowboats. Maybe Grandpa Sorensen would give them permission to paddle around the pond. No, she could not even tell him she knew about this place. Was that why he told them about the ticks and made rules against venturing into the woods to keep his little Eden hidden? Could he be so selfish and secretive? Kendra finished a complete lap around the pond, walking on the clean wooden planks the entire way. Across the pond, Seth yelled and made flocks of cockatoos and made a small flock of cockatoos. No. Across the pond, Seth yelled, and a small flock of cockatoos took flight. The sun re-entered behind the clouds. No, the sun retreated behind the clouds. They needed to get back. Kendra told herself she could return later. Kendra was concerned when she cut into her steak. The middle was pink, almost red in the center. Grandpa Sorensen and Dale were already taking bites. Is my steak cooked? Kendra ventured. Of course it's cooked, Dale said around a mouthful. It's pretty red in the middle. Only way to eat a steak, Grandpa said, dabbing his mouth with a lean napkin. Medium rare. Keeps it juicy and tender. If you cook it all the way through, you might as well eat shoe leather. Kendra glanced at Lena. Oh, go ahead, dear, the woman urged. You won't get sick. I cooked it plenty. I like it, Seth said, chewing on a bite. You have any ketchup? Why would you go and ruin a perfectly good steak with ketchup? Dale moaned. You put it on your eggs, Lena reminded him, placing a bottle in front of Seth. That's different. Ketchup and onions on eggs is a necessity. That's sickening, Seth said, upending the bottle for his steak. Kendra took a bite of the garlic potatoes. They were tasty. Mustering her courage, she sampled the steak. Bursting with flavorful seasoning, it was much tastier. What was much easier to chew on than other steaks she'd eaten. This steak is wonderful, she said. Thank you, dear, said Lena. They ate in silence for a few moments. Grandpa dabbed his mouth with the napkin again and cleared his throat. What do you suppose makes people so eager to break rules? Kendra felt a jolt of guilt. The question was addressed generally and hung there awaiting a response. When nobody answered, Grandpa continued. Is it simply the pleasure of disobeying, the thrill of rebellion? Kendra glanced at Seth. He stared at his plate, picking at his potatoes. Were the rules unfair, Kendra? Was I being unreasonable? No. Did I leave you with nothing to do, Seth? No pool, no tree house, no toys or hobbies? We had things to do. Then why did you two go into the woods? I warned you there would be consequences. Why are you hiding weird old ladies out in the forest? Seth blurted. Weird old ladies? Grandpa asked. Yeah, what about that? Grandpa nodded thoughtfully. She has a rotten old rope. You didn't blow on it. I didn't go near her. She was freaky. She came to me and asked if she could build a shack on my property. She promised to keep to herself. I saw no harm in it. You shouldn't go bothering her. Seth found your private retreat, Kendra said. He wanted me to see it. My curiosity got the better of me. Private retreat? Big pond, fancy boardwalk, parrots and swans and peacocks? Grandpa looked at Dale, speechless. Dale shrugged. I was hoping you'd take us out on a boat, Kendra said. Who said anything about a boat? Kendra rolled her eyes. I saw the boathouse, Grandpa. He tossed his hands up and shook his head. Kendra set her fork down. Why would you let such a nice place go to waste? That's my business, Grandpa said. Yours was to obey my rules for your own protection. We're not afraid of ticks, Seth said. Grandpa folded his hands and lowered his eyes. I was not entirely honest about why you needed to stay out of the woods. He lifted his gaze. On my land, I provide refuge for some dangerous animals, many of them endangered. This includes poisonous snakes, toads, spiders, and scorpions, along with bigger game, wolves, apes, panthers. I use chemicals on the others to keep them away from the yard. But the woods are extremely hazardous, particularly island in the center of the lake. It is deliberately infested with island tapins, also called fierce snakes, the deadliest serpent known to man. Why didn't you warn us? Kendra asked. My preserve is a secret. I have all the necessary license, but if my neighbors complained, those could be revoked. You must not tell a soul, not even your parents. We saw a white frog, Seth said breathlessly. Was that poisonous? Grandpa nodded. Quite lethal. In Central America, the indigenous people used them to fashion poison darts. Seth tried to catch it. Had he succeeded, Grandpa said gravely, he would be dead. Seth swallowed. I'll never go into the woods again. I trust you won't, Grandpa said. All the same, a rule is of no value unless the punishment is enforced. You will have to stay in your room for the rest of your stay. What? Seth said. But you lied to us. Being afraid of ticks is a lame reason to stay out of the woods. I just thought you were treating us like babies. You should have brought those concerns to me, Grandpa said. Was I unclear about the rules or the consequences? You were unclear about the reasons, Seth said. That is my right. I am your grandfather, and this is my property. I am your grandson. You should tell me the truth. You're not setting a very good example. Kendra tried not to laugh. Seth was in lawyer mode. He always tried to maneuver out of trouble with their parents. Sometimes he made some pretty good points. What do you think, Kendra? Grandpa asked. She had not expected him to solicit her opinion. She tried to collect her thoughts. Well, I agree. You didn't tell us the whole truth. No way would I have gone into the woods if I'd known there were dangerous animals. Me neither, Seth said. I made 2 simple rules. You understood them, and you broke them. Just because I chose not to share all of my reasons for making the rules, you think you should accept punishment? Yes, Seth said. Just this once. That doesn't sound fair to me, Grandpa said. Unless the punishments are enforced, rules lose all their power. But we won't do it again, Seth said. We promise. Don't lock us up in the house for 2 weeks. Don't blame me, Grandpa said. You locked yourself up by disregarding the rules. Kendra, what do you think would be fair? Maybe you could give us a reduced punishment as a warning, then the full punishment if we mess up again? Reduced punishment, Grandpa mused. So you still pay a price for your disobedience, but you get 1 more chance? I might be able to live with that, Seth. Better than the whole punishment. That settles it. I will reduce your sentence to a single day. You will spend tomorrow confined to the attic. You can come down for meals, and you can use the bathroom, but that is all. Break any of my rules again, and you will not leave that attic until your parents come for you, for your own safety. Understood? Yes, sir, Kendra said. Seth nodded in agreement.